Hi there, my stamping friends. Thanks for joining me today to make this partial panel card using the Stampin Blends and the Gnome for the Holidays stamp set from Stampin Up. You're going to learn some tips and tricks today, so let's get to the stamping fun. I am Rosellen Eastman from My Stamping Friends, and if this is the first time you're joining me, then welcome. If it's not the first time you're joining me, then welcome back. I'm going to talk about a lot of products today, and you can find them all on my website listed here. And here's my hostess code for August of 2020. All of this information will be in the description of the video below, so feel free to go check that out. As a reminder, if you order $35 or more in product from me, you are going to get a link for a tutorial bundle that's completely free. And it's got 15 different cards and projects in this tutorial bundle that you are going to get. Color, pictures, instructions, dimensions, products, everything listed right there for you. So let's get to this partial panel card. First thing I'm going to do is grab my cardstock. I started with a Mossy Meadow Base, and this right here is going to be 5 1/4 by 5 1/2. On that 5 1/4 side, you are going to score 1 inch down. So this is going to be your back part of the card, and this is going to be the flip right here. Then I have a Whisper White insert that's going to go down. That's going to be 4 by 5 1/4. I have a Mossy Meadow 4-inch square. I have another piece of Whisper White that's going to be 3 by 3 3/4. It's going to go there. And I have 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper that's going to be 1 inch by 4 inches. Now this one I got from Heartwarming Hugs in the 2020 August-December mini catalog, and you can use whichever side you like. It's totally up to you, because all of the colors in here are going to match the colors that we're using today for our little gnomes. All right, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is fold this piece down to make the front of this card. I'm going to use my bone folder right here, give that a good crease, and set that to the side. The insert piece we have right here, where the Designer Series paper is going to be attached like that. Scoot that off to the side so you can see. I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus to get this adhered down there. And you can use either side, like I said, of the Designer Series paper. So if you slipped it in there like that, it would look like that, or you could have that polka dot, diamonds, I guess, diamond shape over there. So for today, I'm going to use this red side up. So I'm going to put my adhesive on the white side. And you're just going to attach these down to the ends of this paper. Now, it is a little hard because I'm using white paper on a white grid paper. So what I'm going to do is just lay it on top of this green for you. Now, if you are not able to do this left-handed, that's not a problem at all. There's different ways you can hold it. We can flip it over like this. The only thing you have to watch is the direction of your Designer Series paper. If it has a direction, say some ornaments that are hanging on it, you're going to want to make sure that the ornaments are going in the same direction. You don't want one facing this way and one facing that way. Now I'm going to take my adhesive and put the second piece of Designer Series paper on. Flip that around. We have enough light in here. Let's add another light. And just get that attached in the corner. So that's what the insert is going to look like. Now the next thing to do is put our sentiment in there. Now often I will tell you that I want you to stamp before you stick anything down. But in this instance, I wanted the sentiment centered on the inside of the page here. So you wouldn't really necessarily have an easy time getting it right if you're just stamping it without the Designer Series paper. So I'm going to open up my Real Red ink pad, flip it over, scoot that out of the way, and move that as well so I can put down my ink pad. This is a stamp that just said, "You're a friend like Gnome other." And I am going to just test it out right there. Make sure it's got enough ink on it. Tap, tap, tap on my ink pad. And then try and get this centered without putting my head on the video. There you go. Perfect. Now I'm just going to set this off to the side for a moment while we get the rest of the card ready. Here are the inside pieces we have. Close up my Real Red ink. And I'm going to open up the Memento ink we have because the next thing we're going to be doing is using our Stampin Blends. And let me just show you what I've got here. These are the Stampin Blends I've chosen to use. These are alcohol-based markers, and it will say that on there. They have 2 tips on them, a marker type tip and a nib that is, so this one is a little more flexible. It's got a very fine tip on it. And this one is a little bit of a harder nib on it, and it gets you can really get into the detailed aspects of things. So I'm going to take my 2 gnomes, which is this little gentleman, and our fun little gnome with a Christmas tree hat on. Open up my Memento ink and stamp the 2 of them on here. So tap, tap, tap. And then I just look at it just to make sure I got ink everywhere. And put her on the left side. Perfect. And then this gentleman, we're going to stamp on the right side. About there sounds good. Perfect. All right, I like to close up my ink so I don't put my fingers in it or my cards. Put that off to the side. Now the fun part comes. You can copy exactly what I've got there, or you can color it however you'd like. If you have any of our Stampin' markers, that would work as well. I just like how these blend and shade. So I think first I will take my dark Real Red, and you can color everything in at once, or you can color them in sections. So I am just going to color. While you guys are watching me color, why don't you put a little comment in the video where you're from? I always love to hear where people watch my videos from. Now the reason I'm using this nib is because this apron right here has a little bit of a scallop at the bottom, and I just wanted to make sure that I was getting it all. Okay, so that's all the red. Oh no, I need to do her sleeves right here. And I'm going to leave her with a white apron. Okay, and then for this little gentleman, I'm going to color the front of his either socks or shoes. I'm not sure what they are. And then I'm going to color his hat, but since his hat has bigger stripes on there, I'm going to color that with my marker end. And I'm going to do every other stripe on his hat. And then I'm going to fill in the opposite stripes. A little bit of his bow on his hat, and that's all for the red. For this, his hair, I chose the light gray granite. And since his beard is so big, again, I'm going to use this wider brush at the end. There we go. And her hair, I'm going to do a little bit as well. And I just thought that was a little bit grayish. Now, I don't know if you could tell the difference between these. I took one of the very light pool parties and just did a little bit of blue on there to give it a little more depth and definition. For the ornament in his hand, I took the other pool party. And like I said, you can choose whatever colors you'd like. So we'll make that one a little pool party there. I'm going to take the bronze that we've got and color in the center. Now these Stampin' Blends come in 2 packs. So you'll see you get a light and a dark, for example. Here's the Mossy Meadow, a dark and a light, and you blend them together so that they can create shadowing effects. It's really very neat. For their skin color, for these 2, I chose the dark petal pink. Again, you can choose whichever you'd like. There are so many colors. You can choose anything from the bronze all the way up to crumb cake. There is an ivory color. There's a petal pink. A bunch of different options for skin tones. But when you're doing it, make sure you color everything. His little hand on the side and her little hands. There you go. Now I'm going to choose the dark Mossy Meadow to do her little shoes right there. And his pants right there. And you can change it up every time, whatever you might like. For the green in the hat, I'm going to choose the light Mossy Meadow. And again, I'm going to use the brush tip. And you might see right now that when I'm first coloring it, you can see marker lines in there. But once it dries, they really go away. For the Christmas tree, I chose light old olive. Now, up until now, most of the colors I used were in the designer series paper right here. So you can see the Mossy Meadow, the real red, the, that's a pear pizzazz right there, but I grabbed the old olive marker just to give it a little bit of a different green than their pants and hat. So it wasn't all matchy-matchy. So I am just coloring this in, being a little careful not to go outside of the lines, but not extremely. I'm just going to color in his little smock nightgown. I'm not sure what it was. Oh, I'm going to do a little bit of these leaves right there. I'm going to come back with that red and just use my nib end and just dot the 3 little circles. You don't necessarily have to color in the circles. I'm going to use my light Daffodil Delight to color in the star on the top. And I think that might be it. Did I forget anything? Oh, I see a little piece of his arm peeking out, his little sleeve right there. You want to try and make sure you can go back and do everything. And just for fun, I'm going to do this little top part of the ornament there. And finally, the leaves on his hat. Ooh, and the little top of his hat. Now I think that's everything. There we go. So I'm going to take my 4x4 square that I've got. I'm going to put adhesive. Oh, it's not everything. See what I forgot. I don't like necessarily to have these guys just floating there. So what I did was I took my brush end of the light gray granite and I just swiped a little bit in there just to make it look like a shadow. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just put it under everything where they're standing. Okay. And if you want, you can go in and just make a little bit of a darker shadow right underneath them. That's what these blender pens are good for. You won't necessarily see those little marker lines when you're done. It'll just look darker underneath them. See? There you go. Now have I got everything? I do. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the back. Use my Stampin' Seal Plus. And for this, I'm going to stick it down to the bottom of this 4x4 square. I want about an 1/8 inch border all around these 3 edges. And I'm just going to push it. I never like to rub from the top because then your fingers, you know, could get ink on them, or you could smear your project. All right, so back to our project. This piece is the inside of the card, and I am just going to attach that. And again, I'm going to try and do an 1/8 inch border around all the sides. Now, if you are not very good at putting this on, I wanted to just show you something right here. I've got a take your pick tool. Now there is a handle to it. I've just recently taken it out, but what I have found is that, see where I've put the adhesive? If I just stick that on there, then I can take this and kind of place it down a little better without my fingers being in the way. So you just hold it down and then take that out. Again, just flip it over to rub the back. So that's the inside of the card. On this piece, it's basically going to go right there. You're going to flip it over, but I'm going to give you some hints. Start at the very tip top of this. to put down your adhesive. Oh. And put it like that. And then you can put down another row of adhesive. You just want to make sure you don't go within 1/8 of an inch right there, because that's what's going to be peeking out at the top. For this, I want you to go all the way down to the bottom of the card, not that little, the white end of the card. But I can see that that's crooked, but we're going to fix that. So go all the way down to the bottom of the card. And if you want to, you can use your grid paper. You can line it up on your grid paper and make sure you're actually centered. But if you're not, if you're good at doing this, then don't worry about it. Just put it down anywhere. So put that there. I know it doesn't go all the way up to the top, and that's okay. You're going to take this and fold it down. So that's going to make your flap right there. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is grab a piece of ribbon. Now, I grabbed the ribbon from this 3-pack we have in the catalog. It's on page 161. It's called Flowers for Every Season Ribbon Combo Pack. It's got this white linen ribbon. It's got this just jade gingham. And it's got this, which I just really love it. It's a Misty Moonlight and Silver Baker's Twine. So I haven't used that one yet, but that is next coming up. For this ribbon here, you're going to grab 13 inches, which I've already cut, okay? And then what we're going to do is put a little bit of adhesive in the middle of the card. Take your 13-inch ribbon and sort of center it there, and then press it down, okay? Flip that card closed and put a little bit of adhesive in the center. You're going to take this piece and flip it over. Make sure that one covers it up. Now, I don't want it overlapping too much, so what I'm going to do is I just put a little adhesive in the center. I'm using my ribbon scissors to just snip off a little bit of that. And then find out where this goes, and kind of in the center of the card, again, just put a little bit of adhesive. Make sure that is not up too high. And make sure it's even. There you go. Now there's a little bit of excess, and we're just going to trim that off. See how that just met in the middle? And don't worry about it covering, going over each other there, because we're going to make a bow to cover it up. Now, the way I make bows, I mean, everybody makes bows differently, but the way I make bows is I always work with the curl of the ribbon, and I often just leave it on the spool. I'm going to take this ribbon with the curl, and I'm going to make a first loop. I want it to be a kind of a small bow, so that's why I'm making it kind of small right there. Just a first little loop I'm pinching, wrap around, and then just take this extra and put it through that part you were pinching, and then pull. Now don't pull it all the way through. You're going to keep just messing with the ribbon until you get it exactly where you want it to be. That one, pull a little bit more. Ooh, I turned that one inside out. Flip that around. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is just cut this off anywhere over here. These scissors are super sharp because I just use them for ribbon. That's the only thing I use them for. I never cut paper with them. So in order to attach this, I could put some more adhesive, but the adhesive is wider than that knot at the ribbon. So I am going to put down some glue dots. Actually, I'm going to fix that little ribbon right there. There you go. I'm going to put some glue dots. And the way I do that is I just expose one glue dot at a time, and I just press the ribbon on. If I wanted another one, I just expose another glue dot and pick it up that way. So now they're on the back, and you can take that, put it down wherever you'd like it to be, and press. Now just kind of massage that ribbon. And when you have your ribbon attached, you can take the tails and trim them. Now, if you are really careful and you want your tails to be exactly the same length, you can just pinch them together, hold them in the center, and then trim. Okay. there you go. How about that? I hope you got some tips and tricks out of this today. Here's the card we just made. Here's the card I made yesterday. Oh, wait, I did forget one thing. I wanted to add on the Wink of Stella. If you can see on this how the ornament is a little glittery. So we have Wink of Stella. I'm just going to take that and just put a very tiny little bit on. There you go. Close that up and put it off to the side. Gorgeous, right? I love this. Now you can put whatever sentiment you want in there. You can use whatever stamp set you want. You can use whatever DSP you want. So you can make this a summer card just by changing the colors in the stamp set. I chose to do a holiday card because I'm getting back into holiday card classes already, even though it's August. I can't even believe it. So I hope you got some benefit out of this video. And if you did, then smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Comments and questions are always welcome. Compliments too. Feel free to use these, something I just taught you, make a card just like this. And if you do, I'd love to see it. Pop over to my Facebook page, which is listed in the description below, and drop a photo in there for me to see. I'd love to see what you make with this. I hope you liked this partial panel card using the Stampin Blends and the Gnome for the Holidays stamp set from Stampin Up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, thumbs up if you like my video, and make sure to catch my Facebook Live Sunday night and Wednesday nights, and I will post on YouTube the next day. Until next time, have a wonderful day, stay safe, and keep crafting.